Hello and welcome to the 45th episode of Metabreakers Hearthstone Podcast, starring my very good friends and peers, DmoneyGames, aspiring professional Hearthstone player. Or I think he is a professional Hearthstone player at this point. Your boy Warshack, our home brewer extraordinaire, and myself. You are a demon hunter, one trick. I hope you guys are having a phenomenal Sunday. How are you doing today, boys? What's up, D-Money?
Doing all right. I've been trying to qualify for the Masters tournament. It's not going so well, but, trying to keep my head up. There's a lot more tournaments to come. I believe in myself. So, yeah.
Yeah, is it fun? Do you enjoy doing the qualifiers?
I do until I lose. Yes. Not the qualifiers. I'm gonna get into this maybe a little later, but like the qualifiers right now are I'm still really learning the meta of the qualifiers right now. But yeah, it is always fun having having a lot of viewers watch me play the qualifiers, and like I like getting people excited about competitions. So yeah, I like that part a lot.
Do you still get packs?
I imagine it's probably hard to do matchups and bans and stuff because since all these new cards came out like less than a week ago, we don't even really know, like, okay, how good is Highlander Hunter against the version of Soul Demon Hunter that this guy has, or how good is Whirl Kick Rogue against the Rally Paladin deck that this dude is running. Like, we have no idea, so you kind of just have to gamble with all those things, right?
Yeah, it's a lot to think about, especially with just like the lineup that you're bringing to. There's just so many good decks right now, and you'll see that when we talk about the meta and everything. But yeah, a lot to think about. Still learning, but I got a lot of tournaments left, so I'm hopeful. And Warshack, yes, you do get packs still with the tournaments. I just got one from yesterday. It's sick. Yeah, one
Hey
pack.
man, at least getting something for like playing. I don't know, even though it's not a lot. You still get like a thing.
Yeah.
My side though, not on the competitive side. There's still so many like fun decks to play. Yesterday I was trying out some Corrupt Priest. It was actually pretty fun. One of the things I was like, because with the Corrupt Priest you run the Clown, right? And because so many clowns die when you corrupt it, I was like, well, might as well build this the greediest way possible. I'm like, what if I put Raised Dead in here? So then when you raise dead, you automatically get 2 clowns back, and it just becomes a fiesta. It is straight up like you out-clown druids with their double clown and defilers, and you're just like, well, I got quadruple clown and defiler. And it was actually, I was surprisingly fun. And there's still, quite a few decks that I have yet to try with some of the new cards. But we're going through it. I've got to play with most of them, and I would have to say that the new cards did shake up the meta, and it did keep it insert itself into like a fresh new little bit. But will it last until the next expansion comes out? Maybe, but it definitely made it more enjoyable, at least for me, the past about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No,
I was gonna say my week from the Demon Hunter lane was a little bit of a roller coaster because after all the new cards came out, I started trying to refine some of the old decks, and a lot of it just didn't feel super great. So I lost like a whole bunch of ranks, and then I started to try to do like creative things to make them work, and everything was failing. So and when everything's failing, I'm just losing a whole bunch of games in the process, trying different cards in it, and it wasn't feeling super great. But then I decided, you know what, let me try and make a fast Demon Hunter deck, because I haven't played this in like, I don't know, months. Like, what is the word? I haven't played it passionately in months. Aggro Demon Hunter was super popular about 2 months ago when it was tier 1, and I just didn't even really touch it. So going into that now, and then I started finding like success with it, and it wasn't like the, what is the word, like nonstop win streaks. It was like win win lose, win win lose, win lose, win 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 lose lose lose, win win lose, win lose, win win lose. So it was like I'm definitely winning way more than I'm losing. So everything was and all the games were super fast. And a lot of times people concede after like turn 2 or 3. So I was like, you know what? This works. Like I don't mind that like I'm not winning every single game. I'm winning way more than I'm losing though. So this is just it was fun. You know,
I don't like that mentality.
What's that?
You know? I don't like that mentality. I'm not winning every game, but I'm winning more than I'm trying to win every game, Draco. Okay, if you're not winning every game, you gotta fix something.
That'll drive you insane. You're like, oh.
My sample size for the deck was ridiculous by the end of it. I was at this point I am 294 and 170.
Jesus.
Yes.
That's a lot of games.
That is a lot of games. They're 2 minutes. They're 2 minutes each. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah. To what you guys are saying, the new mini expansion, the new cards. I've actually been enjoying them quite a bit, and I feel like the overall consensus in the Hearthstone community is that a lot of people do like them, and they like how much it actually like changed up the game a bit, which is nice because that just like gives you a glimpse into the future, because they're going to be doing the mini set from now on after every expansion, so that's very nice. And I mean, the problem still is that like yes, it like did change up quite a few things, and like I do like the new cards, but still getting into I'm still getting like very tired of the meta, and like I'm like when you play against Arbor Up Druid like every single game, it starts to get a little boring. But yeah, I hope that there's like some kind of classic rework soon, but whatever. Yeah. Oh, for the most part though, the mini set's been great, and we should probably get into the meta. Let's see what we got.
Yeah, we're taking a look here. We got Paladin up at the top like it's never been there before. That's probably not surprising for those of you who have played Hearthstone in the past week. Granted, that ladder is completely filled with this new high roll, cheese, Murloc, tipped scales, however you want to call it, Paladin. Hunter, I honestly haven't really seen a lot of Hunter, so I don't know what that's doing up there. The Rogue is going to be the aggro stealth Rogue that we see a lot. Very, very uninteractive deck, unfortunately, that runs the Sharpening Sword. Druid, that's going to be the Arbor Up Druid, I'm guessing, that everybody's been playing with the new cards. Warrior, we've seen quite a few Enrage Warriors, and at least I have. Not so much EDC, a decent amount of control, a surprising amount of pirate, like weapon-based stuff. But that's pretty much it. The rest of the classes I honestly don't see a lot of almost at all. It's really just the top 5.
I mean, I beg to differ. I think Warlock is Warlock's very prevalent with Zoo. There's a lot of people playing Zoo just
Zoo
for like
is insanely good.
Yeah, it is very good.
Insanely good. That deck is incredible.
There's also Highlander. There's actually a lot of Priest right now. That's either Highlander Priest or the new Monsanto Priest, which is where you just play a Lucia and you play Cthulhu, and the only minion in the deck is a Lucia. So when you play Insight, you get a Lucia, you beat the OTK decks typically, and you still have a win condition, which is Cthulhu for later. And it turns out it's pretty good actually, and a lot of people have been playing it.
It looked cool.
Yeah,
it was like a Galakron control priest with no minions, and the reason you don't need to play minions is because the invoke for priest, for those of you who don't know, is you generate a priest minion. So you actually don't need to run any of them. And it ran all of the invoke Galakron stuff, so the priest Galakron, which no one has ever seen before at level 4, gets to have some shine.
I mean, you actually only run you run the 2 5-cost the spell that invokes. I don't think you run any other others in there. No, because you can only run the 1 minion. Only a Lucia.
Oh, okay, that's right. My mistake. I was thinking you ran more of the invoke stuff, so you had more minions to generate.
No, so but you don't worry. You have Draconic Studies and you have Thought Steals to generate all the minions for you. You don't have to play them.
Okay, all right.
So no one knows what minions you have either. That's also a benefit.
And what do you think about this deck, D-Money? Because, like, honestly, it looks really cool. As a control player, I looked at it because I saw it posted on Twitter, and I was going to play it last night, but I just didn't have the time. I was only supposed to stream, like, 4 hours on the weekends, 1 block, and I ended up streaming, like, 8, and I didn't even get to this deck yet. So, what do you think about it?
I think the deck's really good, and, yeah, Yeah, I think it's just really good. I mean, Monsanto got to rank #1 with it, so just like proving that it's very strong. I think Priest in general is just strong, and just like a way, like there are a lot of times where if you do draw Lucia, you just win because there's a lot of OTK decks, especially at the higher ranks. So it makes sense, and I think it's a very good idea for Monsanto to capitalize on that Lucia there, getting a Lucia, and I feel like the only classes that I probably don't see on this list are probably it's probably just Mage and Shaman. Like there's still a little Mozaki Mage, but there's not too many. Like I feel like if you're gonna play an OTK deck, it's usually Demon Hunter. But like Shaman, I don't think is I don't know. I don't see it.
Yeah.
Landslide's
I mean,
pretty good.
I don't think there's anything super surprising about this. I mean, the fact Druid got way further up there. This week has been really, really good for Druid and Druid players, realizing that their token spell Druid package is indeed the shit. Yes. So that is now a really formidable force on ladder. I'm sure anyone who's listening to this right now has experienced what it feels like to be double Savage Roared with a solar eclipse. And that is something, the first time it happened to me, I didn't even consider playing around that. And then I learned from that moment on, it's like, okay, I need to do double Savage Roar math, like for the next million Druid games I play.
They have like 2 minions out, and you're like, all right, how much damage can do? Over 9,000. Okay. It's like, it doesn't even matter how many minions they have. Even 2 minions is like super threatening with the double Savage Roar for what, 5 mana? So.
Yep. I got quadruple Savage Roared in a THL game. That was really cool. Some guy did Solar Flare, Savage Roar, Solar Flare, Solar Eclipse, Savage Roar, Solar Eclipse, Savage Roar in one time, like for 2 minions on the board, and it killed me. But I don't know. I can't play around quadruple Savage Roar all the time, you know.
That's a bad time. That is a bad time. Do we want to move into the top 1K and like break down these decks and see if anything surprises us?
Yeah, we actually thought this was super interesting when we pulled it up today for the podcast, because the tier 1 category was gigantic, which is it's never like this.
Yeah, holy crap. This is all just tier 1.
Tier 1.
Yeah,
this goes tier 2 today.
This goes back to what I was saying before about the qualifier tournaments that I've been entering. Is that like there's so many decks to choose from that are like really good. It's like how can you play around all of them? It's like I have to make sure that my lineup is okay against Ramp Paladin, or if it's okay against OTK decks, or it's okay against control or combo. Like it's really tough. There's so many good decks right now, which you would think would be a good thing, but I don't know. Like still losing to these decks never really feels good, because it's like the games are so swingy and there's like so many like high rolls.
It's definitely a good thing that there's so many great
decks.
It
is a good thing, but the losing against these decks does not feel great at all.
Well, I mean, if someone was able to come up with some kind of strategy to like whenever there's a lesser amount of tier 1 decks and you're looking at the conquest meta, it's kind of boring, because it's like, are you running Ban Warrior? Are you running you know, Ban Demon Hunter? Is this like, are you just like banning aggro decks? It becomes very linear, and then people win from doing stupid stuff like running like double Sticky Fingers and double Oozes, and then letting Bomb Warriors stay up when that's the deck that everyone brings. At least this way, watching qualifiers and watching people play ladder from the viewer perspective is just so much more entertaining now, because they don't know if they're going to see a Whirl Kick Rogue or a Broom Paladin or a Ramp Paladin or an ETC Warrior or a Druid. It's all, there's a lot of variety back in the game again, which it's harder to plan around, but it's more exciting from the spectator perspective. And I think that's something that's easy to lose sight of.
Mm-hmm. Also, if we noticed in our top meta, Hunter was number 2, but yet when looking at these tier 1 decks, Hunter is nowhere to be seen. We have every other deck showing
This is
face.
top 1000 legend that
Mhm.
this is taken from as well. So I think what that says is that these high performing decks at top 1000 legend are able to outplay a majority of the hunter decks, right?
Mhm. Even though it's, you know, if we look back real quick, it's second at 52.7. You'd think you'd see this being represented in the top players of Hearthstone, but it is not. So just a little surprising pickup there.
Yeah, I mean that just tells you like that's like really only at the bottom ranks or like the lower ranks.
Migo face?
Yeah. Just play your green cards, go face. I'm surprised that people are playing Hunter over Rogue, honestly, at those ranks because like I think Rogue is just a better face deck, but
Yeah. I mean, the Rogue face deck is probably harder though,
Yes.
you know?
A little bit.
Because like you have to like kind of show a little bit of patience.
yeah,
with the
maybe.
deck. You can't just play the cards all the time. Like sometimes it's like, oh no, I definitely need a secret passage to find the backstab so that I can use this with this card. And there's a lot more decisions in the weapon rogue than like I mean, there's not a lot of decisions, but in comparison to Face Hunter, there's more.
Yeah, I would say there's at least twice as many decisions in the stealth aggro rogue than there is the face hunter. Face hunter, you have like at most 2 possible plays per turn.
I don't even think that's a super difficult deck to play either, though. You know, like weapon rogue is pretty straightforward, but there are very impacting like crossroads that you make decisions in with that deck, where you take some risks and you don't take risks. Where Face Hunter can be pretty straightforward,
Yeah, I mean, so Rogue is like a pretty straightforward deck, but you do still with like any deck you do, and probably more with Rogue than Hunter. You do really have to like learn the mulligan of the deck, and like for specific matchups, and like learn like what cards you really have to hold on to. Like if like you have to learn like what your outs are, I guess more. Like if you need to hold on to a stealth minion for Greyheart Sage or something like that, or if you need like to save the burst or save like a card for a combo card, or maybe save the Nitro Boost Poison for a weapon, or like cutting class kind of situations. Like there is a decent amount that you have to just like learn how to play with. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you get the nuts with weapon rogue, it's not really interactive at all.
That's like any deck right now, though.
I don't know. The weapon rogue is really ridiculous when it was. Like I think the craziest I ever saw it pop off against me was someone play like like Spy Mistress or on 1, and then on 2 they coined out the weapon and didn't hit with the Spy Mistress. And on the following turn, they used double
Nitro Boost.
Double Nitro Boost on the minion and their weapon after they already hit me with one, and then took me down they hit me for 14 damage from like I think it was like a 7 attack minion and weapon in one turn. And I was like, okay, I can't win this game. this is over. This is just too scary and too fast. This guy has a sledgehammer. And now, and I can't do anything about it now. So, yeah, it's great.
Something interesting DMoney said, guys. For those of you who are, wanting to get better with a particular deck, doesn't really matter the deck. The mulligan is like one of the most important, if not like the most important thing that you can like help yourself to get a better edge in a game. And we won't dive too far into mulligans, but like, knowing which cards you want to keep in your hand versus certain classes right now, like really will help your win rate and like propel you into a nice early game, which will help you in the mid game, which will then, if the game goes into late game, like you've set yourself up for that future. But if you don't know how to mulligan correctly, and you just find yourself continuously just losing to aggro decks or losing to certain types of decks because they continuously do the same thing to you, maybe you're mulliganing wrong. Maybe, at that point, you'd want to maybe watch a streamer, whether it be one of us 3 or somebody else who's playing that deck that you want to get better with, and see what they do in those situations. So, yep.
I thought you said you didn't want to do coaching, Warshack. I'm kidding.
This is like general advice. I don't think that's
I'm
like everybody
kidding.
in chat I figured could get there, but sometimes you just need to be told. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
and it just
Most
was
decks have a pretty intricate mulligan phase. Some of them don't. I know there are decks like, you know, like Ramp Paladin, where it's like you need Allura, you know, or so we're gonna get into that too.
You need
and
this.
Some decks are pretty straightforward with mulligans, but most of them have a lot of intricacies involved with them. I know, like, Priest is crazy with the mulligan because it's so dependent on the matchup and like specifically what the other cards are in your deck. And from a Demon Hunter perspective, I've realized that I need to change the way I think about my mulligan if I swap 2 cards in my deck sometimes, because it's like, okay, I have less draw, so I need to prioritize, you know, cards that find more cards so I don't run out of steam sometimes and stuff. So don't watch DracoCatt if you want to learn about mage decks. That is true. But yeah, this is High Abyss Allura. This is a card with a 90% win rate in mulligans. Well, it was. Now it's at like 85%, as people have learned what it does.
Only 85% if you happen to have this card. How convenient.
Yes.
Yeah, so if you guys are not aware of this, the Ramp Paladin, the new Ramp Paladin, it only runs 2 Tip the Scales. So that's the only spells. And then the way that you get Allura to activate her spell burst effect, you have to play a Wand Maker beforehand or have the coin, which is actually not too difficult to do, as we've seen. If you have Allura, you just keep her usually, and you probably go for the other thing. I don't play the deck too much, but seems kind of straightforward. And yeah, you actually get it off a lot more than usual, and the win rate is actually just insane with that card. Turns out Tip the Scales on turn 4 or 5 is pretty good, especially with the new Murloc that has Wind Fury as well. So you could clear the whole board and have a really good board yourself. Yeah.
You guys should probably play this deck if you want to have fun for like a game or two. Even though it's like we all hate it and we all complain about it as you watch people in streams. If you have the cards, you should try it. Because it's very annoying to play against this deck because it's very uninteractive and stupid feeling from the opposing end. But things like this don't exist for a long time in Hearthstone. Things like this are what get nerfed. And like, you know, if a card has a 90% played win rate on coin, it's not going to probably last for a long time. So if any of this looks appealing and you have the cards, this is going to be one of those things that only probably exists for a short period of time. So,
well, I don't know if I want people really abusing it.
No, we want them abusing it because then it'll get changed faster.
Yeah, it's true.
That's true.
Like,
all right.
100%. If everybody in the game switched to this deck and it was like the only deck being played, and you've had any like Blizzard devs playing this game, they're like, dude, I don't want to play against this deck. We gotta nerf this. So, but yeah, I definitely can see High Abyss being changed to like cast a spell from your deck that costs like 4 or less. I think that's fair. 5, it can still hit the authority, which is pretty tough to deal with. And if you just change it to like only castable on this minion, as Tip the Scales is like a spell that can't be cast on a minion, and you change it like that, then you can still high roll with the Hope, which I don't think is what they want either. I don't think they want high, like, this is just a lot of examples. This card just brings back like those Barnes feeling. You have this card on turn 4, the chances that you win the game just like go up immensely. It doesn't even matter what you attack with the minions. Just having this card and playing it wins you games. So.
Yeah, I find myself complaining a lot when I'm playing against it. Like I'm always like, look at this scholar with the Allura on the 4. Oh, great, he has the coin. How convenient. And it's like, cool, we lose. And then I would always have these people coming back into chat and being like, hey, GG. And the saltiness inside of me wants to be like, I don't really want to say GG, but at the same time, I don't really blame people for playing it. Like I could play this deck if I wanted to. It's not like I don't have the cards to do it. And it's not like there's going to be a lot of opportunities to do this forever. So, you know what I mean? Like play whatever deck you want. If this is fun, go for it. But it does feel pretty silly on the opposing end.
That reminds me of when I used to play poker with my friends, and I I would go all in against my friend David, and he would get really, really lucky on the last card and hit like some insane out against me. And then right after the hand ended, like right after he hit that, and I was like feeling like total shit, he would reach out his hand to me for a handshake after that hand. And
you just want to slap that shit away.
I'm like, I'm not shaking your hand, bro. After that luck, nah.
It's not luck. He's skill. He knew the heart of the cards was going to be on his side. It was a calculated risk, just like every time you play Yogg-Box off a randomly generated Caligos spell.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
All right.
I also, so Allura has been a, yeah, if you want to bring up those win rates right there. Yeah,
this is disgusting.
This is from yesterday, guys. This is on Coin.
Absolutely
so
gross.
Those Dormu still has a pretty big, pretty good win rate as well. There is that Allura potential, but then there's also the fact that you run like so many big cards, and you could get out like a million clowns. You could get out N'Zoth and bring back so many things. Like, it's actually a lot to the deck. The only problem is that the deck actually has like no draw, so that's why especially Mulligan is especially important in this kind of deck, I feel.
Yeah, I found that with like bigger decks, like not many, like we have the Murlocs that are cheap in this deck, right? But then when you tip the scales, the Murlocs leave your deck, meaning like you don't have as much garbage in there, so you're more prone to draw like higher impact cards like Scrapyard Colossus, N'Zoth, any of their big boys. And I found with I play a lot of big decks, you actually don't really need much draw in those decks because you're really only doing one max of two things per turn. You know what I mean? So like, while some decks like your Mage, draw is very, very important. Rogue, very, very important. But for like big Druid, big Warrior, if you notice big Warrior, what does that have? It has like what, Shield Block? That's the only draw in the deck. And it seems like they have some crazy shit every turn, and that's just because the way that big decks are, draw is almost not needed. So
I don't know. I needed it yesterday in the tournament. Yeah, for some reason I drew Yashiraj and nothing else. Like I was drawing like Dark Moon Rabbit and all my big cards that did not work together, and I just had no draw to like get me to anything to like I was playing one thing a turn, but my things were kind of crappy. So I just got to draw better. That's what it is.
I feel like if you're seeing a lot of Ramp Paladin in your pocket meta, the best thing you could do is run a deck that actually runs late game or has like some kind of punish for playing a Naz Dormu against you, or a way that you can use the mana before them to create an advantage based on your hand. And you think a lot of decks have that, but they don't. I know like Galakron Warlock is one of the, in like Highlander decks with Dragon Queen Alexstrasza, they can do things like that, and that's incredible. Like they play the 8, then you follow up with like the DQA or something like that. Just do a powerful play. I was telling Warshack and D-Money before we went live about I had an experience this week where my opponent, where I equipped the Adraki Warblades on 3, my opponent played Naz Dormu on 4, and then in my hand I had Il'gynoth and all my twin slices. So it was like the answer to his Naz Dormu was a slap for 16 lifesteal double to his face. And that felt amazing. Where it was like, cool, thank you, you die.
Yeah, Naz Dormu can totally punish you. If your opponent has really good stuff, like you have to take a risk, so.
Yeah, play a deck that makes people take a risk against you. If you see a lot of this, it'll be helpful.
So today, D-Money does have qualifiers, so we're going to cut this a little bit shorter just so he can make sure he's prepped and ready for his important games today so he can, you know, do well. So we have this last segment, which we'll talk about Hysteria, and then we will rotate into the Q&A for today, and we'll try to finish up around like maybe 150-ish, 155, so, you know, D-Money can get ready for his games. Does that sound good?
Way to just put me on the spot right here.
No, it's a good thing. We're just, I didn't mean to like, I was just letting chat know.
Supporting you.
Yeah, I'm supporting you. We're doing this is good.
Everyone here wants you to win.
Yeah.
I'll try
I want
my
you to get in
best.
there and start slaying. Take that giant greatsword, get our Milio in the battle, and let's get it done.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about Hysteria just a little bit because this was the only card that was changed in the recent patch a few days ago. I woke up and I saw that there were changes. Somebody said it on Twitter that there were changes, and I was like, oh my god, this is so amazing, bro. I looked at Hysteria. I was like, you know what? They hurt my class a little bit here. It's all right. Whatever. Like, the card's really good. I understand. All right, next change. Duels? Wait, what? What's going on here? Yeah, that was the only change for Standard. So I just wanted to bring this up that was pretty crazy that this was the only card that was changed, and kind of made me think that maybe there is maybe Blizzard is planning some kind of big thing really soon, that like they're going to release the classic rework very soon or something, like, because this one change, I don't know. To me, it was just like, it was so underwhelming. Like, maybe this was just like it was more of just like a duels patch, and they just wanted, like, also the thing is, like, Hysteria is like, it's directly like for Wretched Tiller and Wild, so people are saying that they changed this only for Wild.
Did you read the response from Alec, the developer, about the nerf?
I did not.
Okay, here you go, chat. And D-Money. They said that for the design space in the future, they plan on printing a lot more. They have upcoming attack trigger minions that they have coming out in the future, in the respective classes that this exists, and that for the future this would negate that some of the upcoming things that they have coming out. So the nerf on Hysteria was also to offer up design space for Warlock Priest attack triggers as well. So that, they could make, like, I don't know, Priest, whenever you hit your opponent and heal for 5 or something. I don't know.
Sounds
something like that might exist.
Yeah, sure, buddy, sure.
Sounds convenient. I'm just kidding. That makes sense. I don't really mind. I don't mind seeing this card change like this. It seems fine. It still seems good. I played it yesterday, and it still kills stuff.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time you're like most of the time you do use it on enemy minions, but there are some situations where it's insane on your own minions, so it's kind of sad, but I mean, it makes sense to me. Like, the card is literally, like, it's so good still, and like, it was really, really good beforehand. It was just sad to not see any more changes, but I don't know. That's how I felt.
Actually, the last nerfs changes in the mini set were pretty recent. I mean, just you can't just want changes just for the sake of change, like, you have to make sure that, like, what we're doing, if we're going to change cards, is going to be for the benefit of everyone, and that's like their job. So, like, they came out with all these new cards from the mini set. I would be pretty peeved if they, like, nerfed, like, Illidari Studies or something like that. Or I mean, I don't even know how you do that, but you know what I mean? Like, whatever they hit, like, people care about that stuff, and there's probably not of data to back up rationalizing nerfing a lot of things in Standard when there's so many viable decks right now that.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of data, even though we just looked at Allura with an 87% win rate or something.
That's like a weak one,
that's
right?
That's what we call an outlier. That's an exception.
Yeah, I'm not saying that, like, I necessarily wanted a lot of changes or something, but it was just,
You're excited.
It got my hopes up, and then I saw one card, and that was it. And, yeah. And it was not even a card that, like, I even expected to get changed, compared to other cards. So, yeah.
I have a question for you, D-Money. I was playing Priest yesterday, and I was running Shadow Word Death and this card, and then I ended up trying to make more room in my deck, so I ended up taking out Shadow Word Death because Hysteria seemed to fill the same role as that. What do you think about that? Do you like Shadow Death more than Hysteria? Are they both separate and you'd like to play both? Or does Hysteria kind of fill the same role as being able to kill a big minion? Because you could utilize this to kill, like, small minions, right? You could trade into, like, one guy into two. Or you could use it, like, if they have a big minion, you just use it on that, and most of the time it's going to kill all the small stuff, and most of the time the big minion. So it kind of does the same thing as Death, in my mind. But, like, you play Priest more than me, so I'd like your input.
I mean, I personally would run both, but Hysteria is definitely more flexible, so I could see how you would want to use it in more situations. Like Shadow or Death is definitely more situational, and like it's one single target as opposed to possibly like three kills or something like that. I guess it really depends on the meta, what you're going against, but I could see how Hysteria would be just better in the meta because it feels like there's a lot of wide boards. I don't know. Instead of like a huge questing adventurer or a huge Edwin, like you don't actually see like big Edwins anymore or stuff like that. Like you usually see like wider boards, so it does make sense. I mean, if it works better than Death, yeah.
I was just taking your input on. I know you play a shit ton of Priest, so I was like, what if I take out Death? And I was like, all right, this sounds like a terrible idea, but because of that, we'll do it. So we played no Death. Yeah, and then we were in Mage too, and I took out Arcane Intellect. I'm like, dude, everybody plays this card. Let's take it out.
This card
it ended up being terrible.
This card taught me some lessons this week. The primary thing was the little taunt dude that comes out of Demon Companion, the 2/2 taunt. Usually that's like the coolest thing ever to buff. You know, you're like sidekick that, super annoying, hog. And then I realized that if I make like a 2/6 or something, and I have a whole bunch of 2 health minions against Priest, they can play Hysteria on it, and then it will kill my entire board and then itself. And that really sucks. And that happened to me, I think, 3 times before I was like, I'm never buffing this little 2 health taunt dude against a Priest so that they can make it wipe my board and then off itself. But yeah, man, this card is so good at stopping early aggro.
Yeah, it's actually just good to run, like not even to necessarily have, but just like the fact, like if you're playing as a Zoolock, like the Zoolock is not going to want to put down like a Flesh Giant in some cases now because they are scared of Hysteria. So it's actually good for you that like the card exists, even because like they're gonna be playing around it even if you don't even have it. It's just very powerful. Yeah, but
it's hard to play around. It's so hard. It's like really mental. Like when you're playing like aggressive decks against Priest and you're just like, okay, how do I make my minions not kill all the other ones in the most efficient way? This is the Q&A section, everyone's favorite section. Ask us whatever you want, and we will answer it individually or as a group, depending on what we feel like.
Very nice.
The Hysteria
lack
artwork
of questions has made Warshack leave his computer, guys. So we need some questions.
He probably had to go to the bathroom or something. You know, whatever.
Yeah, Hysteria does look very cool. That's true. The artwork from the new mini expansion, I say this all the time. Like I feel like the artwork just gets better and better every expansion somehow. It's just so good. I love it.
How do you feel about the state of BG and duels? Battlegrounds is awesome and the most popular format in the game. I've been playing with my community in Discord and friends lately, and it's been really fun. Even though I'm pretty papega at it. Battlegrounds is an amazing format, and it's understandable why people love to watch it. Duels, I feel like, is going to become arena. I don't mean to say that, but do you agree with that statement, guys? That duels is eventually going to become the other format that gets kind of lost? And
I mean, it already has kind of.
Yeah, I don't.
Even though it's new.
I don't think it can be salvaged. I feel like as like a competitive form, it just lacks because it's just so high rolly and silly sometimes that being the best duels player isn't really that cool sometimes. I don't know.
I don't know. I think duels is awesome. I think like the concept is awesome and everything. And I would totally play it more if there were actually rewards that were worth getting. The rewards for duels are the same as arena, which are like, in my opinion, they're horrible compared to the amount of time that you spend on these runs. Like you really get like nothing back, and it's like, why? Like,
imagine
sure,
if
it's like
duels
fun,
had heroic Brawlazam rewards. That would be like in
Well-
the $10 entry all the time. I feel like that would make duels a lot more competitive, where like you had to spend 1,000 gold to do heroic duels, and then if you won all 13 of them, you got like, what was that, like 3 golden legendaries and like 50 packs.
50 packs, yeah, and 5,000.
I mean, that'd
dust.
probably be too much of an entry fee for people. So I do like the entry fee being low. Like I like the.
But you can't have rewards like that if the entry fee is low. That's like
Definitely not like that, but like I
that's
don't
what
know.
arena's
it
for.
just-
So like in
like
arena, you
arena-
have.
it has
the-
the same rewards as arena. That's kind of
that's-
where we're at.
that's the
D-Money's
problem.
saying he wants the rewards to be better.
Yeah. So like arena is like low stakes, not that big of a reward, pretty calm, right? Arena stuff like playing an 8/8's a big deal, right? And then you have like duels, which could be like the intense arena where everything's just fucking crazy, right? Like the hero powers are nuts, the treasures are nuts, the cards are nuts, the rewards are nuts, but it costs a little bit more to enter. It could be like the upgraded arena, like I don't know, just more of an epic battle.
It
You know what I
doesn't
mean?
even have
Like
to be an upgraded arena. I just feel like arena also like just needs better rewards. Like the rewards have been this way forever. They've never changed it. It always feels bad. I don't know. Like there's no incentive to like. You need to give people incentive to play these modes, and like getting like only like 1 extra pack for like 9 wins. Like it's like I don't know. Like I spent all this time making the deck first of all, and then trying to like strategize and play these games as well as possible, and like there's gonna be so many people that high roll you with like just like having an insane deck. I don't know. It feels like you just get ripped off, and it's not worth the time. Like unless you're streaming and making content with it, it doesn't feel like you would ever play it. I don't know. That's my opinion.
I can
Side
understand
note,
that.
I wish Heroic Brawliseum was forever. I loved that mode. Whether I know it's like expensive to enter and it's ridiculous, but I always felt like it was fun from like a streaming perspective to like play with those stakes every single game, you know, where it's like, okay, every single run is $10 and like we either win everything or we gloriously lose. And I loved Heroic Brawliseum. I wish that was all the time. I would play that mode really frequently.
I've never played a Heroic Brawliseum, not a single time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I would get owned.
I mean, when it was out, all I did was play Demon Hunter into Heroic Brawliseum, and like that was like my stream for like 2 weeks in a row. It was all I did, and it was wonderful. I had a lot of excitement.
How much does 1 win pay for? Like, so if you get like to the max wins, how many more entries can you get from that win?
A lot. Usually I would get, I broke even pretty much every time, except for like 2 or 3 games, 2 or 3 runs. So the fact that I won like 2 or 3 times also kind of made it like, I don't really care now. You know, it's like I got, because if you got 12 wins, it was like, you got 3 golden legendaries, like 3,000 gold and 50 packs. It's like, the next couple ones are on us, you know, like we're just gonna go for it. It doesn't matter now. Yeah, just winning was so glorious that it kind of nullifies the cost of everything else if you can win them, and that was fun.
And then the prizes came up. I think I was in your stream one of the times that you ended, and the prizes came up at like 3 at a time. There's like fireworks in the background. There's all this shit happening. You're just clicking stuff, and there's all these packs flying in your face and dust. It looked pretty exciting.
It was pretty exciting, yeah, and it's fun. I feel like it's really fun from the viewer perspective too, because like, as like before I was a Hearthstone streamer, I probably wouldn't do that kind of stuff. Like that would be like a horrible waste of my money and my time and a ridiculous thing to do. Like imagine telling your significant other, like, what did you do? You're like, oh, I'm gonna go gamble our actual money so that I can play video games right now.
So I could win golden cards.
So I can win golden cards. Like you would never do that. Like I can't imagine anyone who's not like a Hearthstone streamer to just sit there and jam Heroic Brawliseum over and over and over. But I feel like from a viewer perspective, that's like really exciting because you're like, oh man, this guy's like
shit's on the
every
line.
single person involved in this has a lot on the line. So
Yeah.
What card do you want to see nerfed or expect to get nerfed? Secret Passage, 100%.
I mean, I pick the damage weapon from the oil.
Nitro boost.
Nitro boost poison. Thank you.
I can get to 2. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool. I don't think Arbor Up needs a nerf.
Solar Eclipse 3.
Ooh, that card would be so bad.
Dude.
That card would be actual trash can. I don't think
feel
they
like
would
if
ever
you
do
did
that.
you'd have to make Lunar Eclipse
3 as well.
match.
Yeah,
Because that's
you
like
could-
part of like the. I mean, literally, what that comes from is a druid class that's titled Balance.
Yes.
So you can't have Lunar Eclipse cost 3 or 2 and Solar Eclipse cost 3. That just sounds stupid.
I mean, they could
Balance
change the
druid.
manas to 3 and then just increase the damage of the other one to like 4 or 5. But then it's still trash. But yeah, I don't know. The double spell for 2 mana is pretty nuts. I'm not gonna lie.
It's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like really good. But they might have printed that knowing that Savage Roar is no longer going to be something that Druid has in its kit. That's something to think about as well in just a couple short weeks. Savage Roar may be changed to something else that maybe doesn't synergize as well with what we see now. So
I mean,
honestly,
or it might just get removed. Yeah, we don't know.
yeah. I don't think they'll probably keep something called Savage Roar because that's like a Druid like staple, like in WoW. So we'll see what happens. But with that, I think that we can wrap up unless there's like another question in chat. I know D-Money doesn't really have much more time, and we want to get him prepped. So
We care
if you
about our
guys
boy
see
winning.
anything. Yeah, I want him to go in there and fucking own.
In before I lose
sure.
in the first round. But I'll give it my best shot.
Hey man, it's Hearthstone. Everybody knows that. You win some, you lose some, and then you lose more.
Yeah, you do.
Ooh, I just wanted to point out that the last YouTube we had with Metabreakers, someone criticized D-Money instead of me being a crackhead this time, and that's exciting. They said D-Money crying
What?
as always.
Yeah, I mean that's part of my content, so whatever.
I thought that was hilarious. I was like, what a good comment.
All right,
Make
gentlemen.
sure to leave something hilarious if you're watching this.
Yes. We got to exclamation point podcast. This should bring up both D-Money and DracoCatt's Twitch channel, which D-Money streams every day. DracoCatt streams almost every day. And yeah, make sure to check them out. They're good. They're awesome. We like them. And
Thanks for having me on, Warshack. Best of luck in your games today, D-Money. I know you have what it takes to win, and we'll be rooting for you. Are you going to be streaming your games?
I will be streaming my games, yes.
Are you going to go live like right after the podcast?
I am about to go live, yes.
All right. Well, I will make
But-
sure to spectate and give you good vibes as well. Have a wonderful stream, Warshack. Wonderful stream,
Thank you, thank
D-Money. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.
Yeah,
Yep,
thank
have
you
a
for
good-
having me.
Yep, thanks for having me.
But if you're gonna go to my channel, please leave the lurk on Warshack at the very least, because he's
That-
amazing. So
That is called etiquette.
that's all I have to say.
Thank you. The Twitch
But-
etiquette. I accept all lurks at all form and times forever. All right. Peace
All
out,
right, have a
boys. Have
good
a good
one.
weekend. Good luck.
Peace.
Later, Gators.